don't want you.
I want you to deal with your problems by becoming rich.
This is my home. They're gonna need a wrecking ball to take me out of here.
Good day, everybody. Whether it's morning, evening, or anywhere in between, welcome to unRekt Traders. Today we're taking a look at Bitcoin, currently on the monthly, looking at the machine. So as of right now, we can see that we do have the 20 white coming down into that range with the 50 aqua just sitting at that plus 100 area. So the 50 aqua will act as a weak support resistance level. As of right now, it is holding the body of the candle above it. Now we did have this nice wick down to the 49,500 area. Again, very strong support on the 100 though, sitting at 45,600. And then we do have the 20 coming down. So technically price does want to come to this 42,300 area. But again, we have weak support here and then our weak support here. So it is saying resistance right now, but it is more or less kind of a combo support slash resistance just because of where it's sitting on the quasi here. Coming into the weekly, we tagged our 50 target that we were looking for basically since, let's say, June 10th of 24. So we are sitting on weak support and resistance for that 100, 200. Now we did come down into that 200 slightly a little bit here. We got rejected, pushed right back up to the top of that 50. So we locked into that 50. And then we basically came down and tagged our target, which we've been looking for a couple weeks now. So we got that. Now we do have two new targets that are starting to form. They're not concrete quite yet. However, we are looking at price coming back down to that 37,800 or 37,000. But we'd really like to see these come down a little bit more. The reason why there's a little bit of concern on that is just because of how low the 10 and the 20 are. So if these do start to come back up, we could see price coming back into this little range area here. And then from there, we'll see if we can break above, or do we continue to that lower direction and then do hit these targets at that 38,000 level. On the 3-day, we do have mean reversion down to the possible target here of 40,000. We can see that the purple 200 has come into the range for the second time. So the first time we came in, we popped back up. Second time we're coming back in. Now we do have that 10 and the 50 quite low, so there is that possibility that we try to get up to resistance here one more time at 61.6, and then we'll see if we can get up into the 63, if not even 64.8, before likely coming back down to the possible target of 40,300. Now we also look at this candle here, which was quite nice. We did come down to that 3.2. We know that price only exits the 3.2.3% of the time, so this was a nice little long area to come into. So when everyone was panicking, you know, we could have entered in at this level and we got our percentages. I also asked in the Discord what's everyone going to be buying, and here we are. So again, we do have those resistance levels above us. We'll see if the 200 can actually hold this time at 61.5, let's just say, or do we get a little bit of wick up into the 50 here and then come down to the possible target. On the daily, there's not too much to say for the most part. We are looking at price coming back up into the 10 red here, which is sitting at 60,800. However, we do have quite a bit of resistance on the daily here with the yellow 100. We can look at the quasi here. We are below the minus 100, so this 100 will act as a resistive level. And as of right now, we're just kind of pushing that 50 lower Bollinger Band, which is kind of where we're sitting on the quasi here as well. So once this does come into the range, then we could see a price wanting to come back up to the 62, let's just say 62.2, and then we'll see what happens from there if we continue to that downward direction. So again, you know, we got 3.2 on the daily, pushing us back up. And on the 4-hour, so in the 4-hour itself, we do have some targets in effect. Strong resistance on the 100 here. We look at the yellow 100 down here. We're below the range, but we are looking for mean reversions on the 50 and the 200. So if we did make it back to that 200 as a resistive level, for example, we'd be getting back to that 62,300 range. Now we have filled in this imbalance candle here quite nicely. So we'll see what kind of happens. Do we get to the resistance and continue to that downward support down here, or do we just kind of come back to that 50 here and then try to push up into the 200 basically? Coming into the Nexus. So on the Nexus higher time frames, we still have the yearly. Just kind of fix this a bit. So we do have the yearly. I've said this many times. We've come down to the top of the yearly range, just more or less tagged it, not quite, but we still have that kind of as a naked range. I'm going to say that it's been hit, but we do still have the pivot itself naked at 34,500. We look at the quarterly, we did start to kind of go bullish, which we were in a bullish neutral. Typically can represent a trend change. We didn't get to the previous 3-month high before breaking back below that range, and then we did break the previous 3-month low and almost made our way to the 3-month S2, more or less finding support on this yearly R1 for the most part. It's a little bit of a dip. Take a look at the monthly, and it comes down to a smaller time frame so we can see it better. But on the monthly itself, we opened up above it. It was a bearish neutral, more bearish than neutral, just because, you know, these are pretty tight together here. Once we did break below the monthly range, we did come straight down to that previous month low, and then continue down just a little bit more, almost just past the midpoint between the PML and the MS2. Now, if we do look at the daily and the weekly, for the most part, you know, we still have a naked daily here, and we also have a naked weekly here. So even if we just make it to the top of this weekly range, we're looking at basically a 4.9% move here, and then that would bring us back to that 59. Let's just say 60,000. And if we actually make our way to the pivot and also the lower monthly range, which will act as pretty decent resistance, then we're looking at that 61,800 range, and then 8% upwards direction. All right, so that's all I got for Bitcoin, guys. I hope you enjoyed the analysis, and we'll see you in the next one. God bless.
Visit unRekt.me and download our free powerful indicators, and join our community of traders in our Discord server and get full access to the Machine Suite Indicators, the Nexus Suite Indicators, and the Nexus Screener.